session, technical session 11. The chairperson for this technical session 11 is Dr. N. Prabhakaran. Let me give a short introduction about him. It gives an immense pleasure and privilege to introduce the chairperson of this session, Dr. N. Prabhakaran. He is an assistant professor in Tirukkovilur College of Arts and Science. He has 10 years of experience. His area of interest is literature and ELT. Now let me hand over the session to Dr. N. Prabhakaran. Sir, kindly take over, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good afternoon to everyone. On behalf of the management, I invite for this international seminar. Today's international virtual conference on literature education and social science. We have 11 sessions here. 4 members will present your papers. I introduce one by one for your presentation, and your presentation should be 10 to 15 minutes. It is enough for your area of interest. And I introduce one by one. First one is Dr. R.K. Roshni Raj Lakshmi, guest faculty, Department of Yoga, Manipur University, and her title is Meditation as a Tool to Reduce Aggression as Scoping Review. Dr. R.K. Roshni Raj Lakshmi, present your
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much for the introduction. May I share the slide? So my presentation is on meditation as a tool to reduce aggression. And this topic is, I feel, very relevant today in today's scenario. Meditation as a tool to reduce aggression, a scoping review. For this, we need to understand two entities, aggression and violence. So aggression, as given by these references, Bushman and Anderson, Barron and Richardson, Berkowitz and Keene, is any behavior directed toward another individual that is carried out with the proximate, immediate intent to cause harm. In addition, the perpetrator must believe that the behavior will harm the target, and the target is motivated to avoid the behavior. So violence, what is violence? Violence is aggression that has extreme harm as its goal. Example, death of someone. All violence is aggression, but many instances of aggression are not violent. As given an example by Bushman and Anderson, one child pushing another off a tricycle is an act of aggression, but it is not necessarily an act of violence. Theories of aggression. So where does it come about? Cognitive new association theory is one theory, social learning theory, script theory, excitation transfer theory. Cognitive new association theory, it talks about a particular impulse or a particular stimulus, and that being associated in our memory with some instant or event. And that act of aggression being associated with that anger or with that fear, fight or flight response, fear with the flight response, and aggression or anger with the fight response. So there is this association being built, and that is again when the same stimulus comes about, aggression is seen to manifest. Social learning, just like learning all complicated behavioral things, aggression is something which one learns by observing or by experiencing. Script theory, it is like you have a script for a role in a movie or something. So a script, it gives you that idea. For a child who doesn't know anything, when they see or observe an act of aggression on the television or in other media, they associate that and they form a script of that, and that is known as the script theory. Excitation transfer
Ma'am,
theory.
hold, ma'am.
So
Hold,
this
ma'am.
says
Roshni,
yes, sir?
roll the PPT,
Yes, sir.
ma'am. Roll PPT. Not visible in the PPT, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Is it okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am. Start,
Yeah.
ma'am.
So predictors of aggression. So there are three factors we need to see here. Person factors, situational factors, roots. Person factor, it may be the personality trait, attitude, genetic predisposition, gender, beliefs, values. So therein we can say meditation has a role in most of these things. For example, beliefs, values, attitude, even personality trait. Situational factor, aggressive cues, provocation, frustration, pain and discomfort, drugs, incentives. Again, meditation has been proved to have a role to play in this. That is reducing provocation, reducing rumination, reducing frustration, aggressive cues even. Roots, cognition, affect, and arousal. And affect is one place where meditation would have a very important role to play. Mind body medicine. So here we're trying to connect the two topics in the heading. That is, mind body medicine is a medicine that is a system of medicine that focuses on the close relationship of the mind and body. Earlier times, Hippocrates' time, they noticed this relationship, but later on, as we came to the later period of medicine, they seem to have separated these two entities. But then with mind-body medicine techniques like yoga, meditation, this is again re-established. So Barrows and Jacobs define it as behavioral, psychological, social, and spiritual approaches to medicine, not commonly used. So meditation, this is one of the tools employed in mind-body medicine, and Patanjali defines it as Tatra Pratyaya Ekatanata Dhyanam, translated as uninterrupted flow of mind towards an object. It is uninterrupted, as though oil is flowing from one vessel to another. Uninterrupted, smooth flow. So meditation can be of many types, but mainly they have been characterized by awareness, focused attention, witness attitude, visualizations. So, effect of meditation on health, it has got a salubrious effect both on the body and mind. WHO, when it defines total health, it says that it is a state of complete physical, mental, social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease or infirmity. So, considering all these dimensions of health, that is physical, mental, social, and even spiritual, they have shown that Zidane et al., Dilmont, Bankart have shown that meditation has a beneficial effect on all these dimensions of health. So just to give you bullet points, how it improves: induces a calm state of mind, improves self-regulation, down-regulates the stress response, improves resilience. So the main objective of the review, the scoping review, is to synthesize a systematic and exhaustive literature on meditation and aggression. Methodology, we have done an exhaustive search on Google Scholar, PubMed, using the keywords meditation, aggression, violence, mindfulness. Clinical trials, quasi-experimental studies, observational studies, reviews were included in the review. Duplicates, only abstract citations, and irrelevant citations were excluded. So here we have a summary, and in the summary I have categorically placed it to show the effect in normal individuals and in pathological conditions. So the first summary is on normal individuals. Deshpande et al. Have shown that verbal aggression have reduced after yoga-based meditation in 226 subjects. Walton et al. In their review have shown transcendental meditation has a beneficial effect on reducing aggression. Shourie in 2012 has shown in their pre-post study that aggression is reduced using the questionnaire, Buss and Perry aggression questionnaire. Wontong Kam 2013 have used MBSR, mindfulness-based stress reduction, and they have shown reduced aggression. Usaini, they have done a clinical trial and they have shown that mindfulness meditation can show improvement in the positive effect, and negative effect is reduced along with aggression being reduced. You in 2015 have shown using mind subtraction meditation technique that aggression is reduced. Again, BPAQ is used as a parameter. Dwivedi in 2015 have conducted an RCT, and yoga-based meditation reduced aggression. Sharma et al. Have shown that aggression is reduced in youths using the BPAQ scale. Kraplin et al. Again have conducted a review, and this was basically a mindfulness-based intervention, not just meditation, but many other techniques were included. So it was found to be inconclusive because some of the studies were biased, some of the studies had study design problems. So even though some showed that there was improvement, there was the overall review was found to be inconclusive. Shivaramappa have done RCT on Anapanasati, that is another kind of meditation, and they have shown reduction in verbal aggression. Fayaz et al. Have shown reduced aggression by mindfulness technique. Gillians et al. Have done a beautiful review and have shown that there is reduction in aggression. Desteno et al. Have shown in the Leverman scale of aggression that there is reduction in aggression after 3 weeks of mindfulness technique meditation. Christopher et al. Have done a very relevant study here. They have done the study on law enforcement officers. We know that law enforcement people or people in the police or people in the forces, they are bound to have aggressive nature. At least they have a tendency to have aggressive nature because of the demands of their job. So they saw that there is a reduction in aggression by using BPAQ scale. Ribeiro have shown that there is a reduction in aggression by using mindfulness-based resilience training. Tao et al. Have done a review again on mindfulness-based interventions, showing there is reduction in aggression in children and adolescents. Again, very important. Adolescent is a tumultuous phase, we know that, and reduction in aggression in them is very, very important. Velasquez have shown that aggression is reduced after a yoga-based meditation. Sethi et al. Have done a review taking reference from Bhagavad Gita and other traditional texts of India, and have shown, along with scientific studies, that there is reduction in aggression. Rarig et al. Have shown that there is regulation of aggression, meaning there is control of aggression in mindfulness meditation technique. Shetty et al., same Govindaraj Shetty, they have done a RCT and they have shown yoga-based meditation would change the beliefs about aggression, and they would go for the alternative method rather than going for aggression. So we now move on to the clinical. Clinical, we have mostly from N.N. Singh, who specializes in this, and he has shown through case series and case studies that aggression, which is one of the manifesting symptoms in several psychiatric conditions like Asperger's syndrome, mental retardation, or autism, because mostly they are not able to communicate or their social dimension is severely affected because of their disease condition. They have severe aggression problems, which makes it difficult to for them to mingle with society. And they've shown in studies, beautiful studies they have done using this mindfulness training specifically designed by N.N. Singh called the Souls of Feet, and they've shown there is reduced aggression in these conditions. We have some more by Shirvani et al. In 2021. MBSR technique and aggression is reduced in mild traumatic brain injury. Again, brain injury can cause aggression, and it is seen that there is reduction by MBSR technique. Franco et al. Have shown there is improvement in the aggression condition by Fleur meditation technique using BPAQ scale, and it is in classroom offenders, mostly children who have conduct problems. Milani et al. 2013 have shown that MBCT, cognitive therapy based on mindfulness, can help reduction of aggression in juvenile offenders, children who are basically booked for criminal conditions, criminal cases. So a discussion part, we can say a study of the article shows that meditation reduces aggression in various forms. It may be verbal aggression, anger, physical aggression, hostility. It improves positive effect and pro-social behavior in different populations, both normal and clinical condition. Meditation acts by top-down mechanism, one of the mechanism how yoga works, and brings about changes in the brain physiology to reduce aggression. There is no bias in the selected studies and reviews. Conclusion, meditation proves to be beneficial for reducing aggression and violent temperament in both normal and clinical conditions. Meditation can be incorporated into management protocol of aggressiveness and associated disorders. I would like to conclude with this. Thank you very much. References are here. Thank you.
Thank you, Roshni, for your wonderful presentation. You have described the value of meditation, and it is needed in current scenario. Meditation is a valuable topic. Thank you so much. And you
Thank
have
you,
a question? Any questions for her? Thank you. And we move on next person. Lavanya TGM, research scholar, Department of English from St. John's College, Palingotai. Start your presentation.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone present here. Sir, shall I start my presentation?
Start.
I'm about to present my topic, Diaspora and Existentialism in Andrea Levy's Every Light in the House Burning. To start with, diaspora is dispersal from original homeland to the alienated land with some ambition, either for the sake of survival or to grade up their lifestyle. Existentialism, a philosophical view that emphasizes the importance of existence, including one's responsibility for one's own psychological existence. The novel Every Light in the House Burning, published in 1994, presents the life of a Jamaican family set in London in the 1960s and 1970s. Being a semi autobiographical novel, Levy brought out her personal experiences in the work taken for the discussion. Here, in spite of living in the migrated land, the narrator, Angela, and her family tries to acculturate in the alienated land. Thus, Winston and Beryl, parents of Angela, as a couple settled at Tilbury in 1948. Even though the couple underwent various difficulties as immigrants in the host society, the appreciable efforts were taken by them to eliminate the negative criticisms about them when it comes to parenting in particular. So this paper is a kind of attempt to reiterate how the characters in the Every Light in the House Burning blend the essence of existentialism by themselves in the alienated land. So, when the raw criticisms arose on the lifestyle led by the Jamaican family in the white country, um, all these incidents were brought out in the pages of the novel. Uh, but at the same time, the never bother attitude of the family is also well written by Livy. So, even though they tried to be subtle in the way they approach their existence in the alienated land, they knew their limitations of their existence in the alienated land. Even though they knew that, they voiced out to their children as parents whenever they are shaken by the society. So when their son John underwent a kind of criticism by his neighbor, as parents, even though they knew the condition in the society better than John, they advised their child like you should take no notice, just consider take it as stupidness, and you let them come from here. You just tell them, take no notice. This is the advice given by his mother to him. So, hence, the parents of Angela epitomize as the existential figures who overthrew the trauma and cultural clash in the conscience of their children. So, from existentialistic point of view, Livy's character, that is Winston and Beryl, the parents of narrator Angela, consolidates Sartre's point of view that man is born into the world of void. He has the liberty to remain in this mud and thus lead a passive, acquiescent existence in the semi conscious state. So, here I would like to state that it is our purpose to build up that strong will in our semi conscious state where we belong to. So, when it comes to existence, Angela's parents did not disapprove neither their heritage in Jamaica nor they agree the alienated land, alienated setup provided by the host society, but the acceptance of non-belongingness and the efforts taken by them to overthrow the unnecessary empathy towards the circumstances is highlighted here. So, Beryl, as a woman, she never enjoyed a privileged position in Britain. This is the reality. But still, even though even though she was qualified as a teacher in Jamaica, here here she was given a statement by the institution that she had to retrain before she could stand before the English children. So she took up that statement in a positive way. She understood that she has to improvise a lot in her way of teaching and everything. So this made Beryl to go for the Open University degree in Humanities and Social Science. And then the incidents were listed out where she proved to fit in the society, even though she understood the clash around them, and she tried to nourish herself and along with her family. So, as humans in general, this we search for the they search for the identity in the universe, as their actions and lives are not governed by any outward agency. People behave as if they are thrown into this universe and they are bewildered by the pressures of their lives in general. But when it comes to diaspora, the predicament of the first generation immigrants are always rebelled by the second generation. So existentialism thus stresses in this alienated, absurd, and anguished world that the man travels from the nothingness to nothingness. He could take the charge of his own life. So that is what, as the diasporans, as the immigrants, here the couple uh, take it as a license, and they try to build up their family by accepting the realities, and they take up the position as a positive parents, and they are nourishing their children in that alienated land. So as individuals, they found the ways to detach from the so-called they in the society. They refers to the other person. They never mind the inner conscious and the feelings of them. They were keep on placing some coarse criticisms against them, but rather than that, the as individuals they tried to overcome that alienated feel out of their own will and choices made by them in the life. So willingness and choices are not enough to exhibit the overcoming of certain crises in life. Therefore the lives of Winston and Beryl well exemplifies with the concept of this existential figure, and they were inwardly willed as an individuals, and chosen the authentic way to lead their life. So I feel that the characters in Levy's novel Winston and Beryl, they absolutely bend the essence of existentialism by themselves in that alienated land. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Lavanya. Thank you for the wonderful presentation and your way of presenting paper very well. I have one question.
Yes, sir.
We have lots and lots of literary topics, but why did you choose this topic in particular? We have so
Sorry,
many
sir,
literary
I
contents.
couldn't
We have
understand you. Yes.
we have so many literary contents. Why did
Okay,
you
sir.
choose this topic in particular?
That is existentialism and
Extremism
diaspora.
and diasporical.
Okay, sir.
What the reason behind
So
this?
I felt that at this juncture, here now the universe is undergoing a pandemic situation where we completely felt alienated all of a sudden. We start those were the days we were talking about the diasporas, where the immigrants will come from their homeland to the alienated land, and there they felt many kind of anguish, anxieties and all those things. But all of a sudden, at a point of time, we even though we were in our native land, we underwent a situation like we were alienated. It is all because of the circumstance and the discussions going on around us. So I felt that what is the purpose of, when I had a question like existence, um, we were looking for the choices to make it in a positive way to lead our life. So that made me to think a lot about existence, and when I thought about existence, I thought I could connect it with the diaspora easily, and uh, I, I had a thought, I wanted to make it as human in general, irrespective of their lifestyle.
Thank you, Lavanya. Thank you for your valuable answer. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
sir.
Any questions? we move on. Next person. Monica Jha. This is scholar.
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. Let me share my slide presentation. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute, sir, please. Sir, am I audible?
Start your presentation.
Okay. Okay. First of all, good afternoon, one and all. It's indeed an honor and pleasure to present my work in the august presence of the intellectuals gathered here. My name is Monica Jha and I'm pursuing my PhD from Devi Ahilyabai Vishwavidyalaya, Indore, India. So my slide is visible.
Present your paper. Your slide is visible.
Visible? Okay, thank you, sir. So my work is based on a comparative studies between Amish Tripathi and Devdutt Patnaik and how they portrayed the theme of mythology in their respective work. So before I move forward, I just want to give you a sneak peek into what is mythology. So the term myth is come from the word mythos. It's a Greek word which means a story in a layman term. Since a myth is called a story, mythology is a study of those stories. In these days and age, myth is a very different genre and it is different from folk tales, legends, narratives. Questions that are beyond the reason are answered by mythology, whereas mathematics and science are based on a reasoning. So why I have chosen this topic? Mythology is being retold with a novel approach through the novels and the work of eminent writers like Amish Tripathi and Devdutt Patnaik. These authors have focused in mythological research because they have retouched ancient epics with the same value and grandeur. They are restoring the myth with these retelling to cherish and imbibe in life. In addition, these myths and folklores have answered a lot of unsolved puzzles, such as laws of karma, queer identity, connection between mankind and nature. Devdutt Patnaik's perspective about what is mythology, as he said on one of his interview in 2018, that mythology is a map of human mind. It will help you to understand the world, life, culture, and it is subjective truth based on the memory. I just want to give you a brief introduction about Devdutt Patnaik, an MBBS graduate who is highly passionate about mythology. Devdutt started his career as a writer by writing a column about Hindu mythological characters. He believes in connecting myths to the contemporary issues, which helps the readers to face the challenge in life. The most important facet of his work is that he distinguished between mythology and mythological fiction. He believed that although mythological fiction is writing genre, mythology is an academic topic. Devdutt Patnaik has written more than 30 novels and 700 articles. Some of his well-known works are Myth, Mithya, The Sutra, The Pregnant King, and the illustrate retelling of Mahabharata, Shikhandini, and the other tales they don't tell you. Whereas on other hand, Amish Tripathi is one of the leading famous fiction writer. Amish is well known for his work Shiv Trilogy. It's a collection of 3 books. The first one is The Secret of Nagas. Second one is The Immortals of Maluha, and the one is The Oath of Vayuputra. In this trilogy, Amish has beautifully and impressively described how Lord Shiva lived the life of common man. Shiv trilogy revolves around the tale of legendary human Shiva and how it's deed making God. Other work of Amish Tripathi, like the Krishna Keys, the Mahabharata Secrets, the Shiv trilogy, are greatly fictional tales woven around the particular olden scriptures. According to the business world, Amish is on his way to becoming fellow of the East. The Hindustan Times has already called his trilogy as an Indian Lord of the Rings. Other authors who twisted the mythology in their own way, like Kavita Kane, a favorite among women readers. Kavita Kane write about the forgotten female character of great Indian epics. Chitra Banerjee, another famous mythological author. Chitra Banerjee is a professor of creative writing at the University of Houston. Ashwin Sanghi, widely regarded as one of the India's best-selling conspiracy fictional writers. Ashwin Sanghi is known for combining history, theology, and mythology on his work. Bringing the first Indian literary icon, Amish Tripathi has set the trend of writing mythological fiction in English. He has blended his wide research on prehistoric Indic literature with mythology, history, ethical theories, and management and technologies to combine myth and modernity in effective and simple manner. Several myths consist of the idea of uncontrollable power and fate in central theme. Neither human nor God can escape their fate, no matter what they do. Some of the popular themes in myths are fight between the forces of evil and God, the origin of some part of the natural world, the aspiration of a hero. It is especially true in the novel of Amish Tripathi. A well-regarded mythologist, David Patnaik, on the other hand, defined mythology as an indispensable part of the society as he discussed his views in interview titled "No Society Can Exist Without Myth," is that there is no human existence without mythology. With Namya Sinha, he added, without myth, there is no existence of any human society. Human cannot survive without myth, as they form the notion of good and evil, right and wrong, right and responsibilities, heaven and hell, peace, monogamy, marriages, non-violence, celebrations, all are based on mythologies, myth, and there is no existence of human in nature. All those notions, religion, ideology, tribes, and based on this concept. If there is a world without myth, it is without human. If I give you a brief comparison between both the authors, so the work of Amish Tripathi, which are based on mythologies, are not retelling of the original. His work are inspired from the Hindu figures like Shiva and Sati, etc. And he only picked up the character from the Hindu mythology and put them in his own work. For example, in his book Immortal of Meluha, he portrays a character of Shiva as a brave tribal warrior who has no clue about his roles as destroyer of the evil. Amish Tripathi made addition to the already known fact about various gods. For example, why Lord Ganesha has an elephant head. These are folklores that says different stories about it, but he chose his own way to present it in his own work. Whereas David Patnaik adopts the same stories and character, but just add a folklore in it, and he is a simple storyteller. He confines himself to the plot without experimenting much with the characters. His writing is simple but insightful. His writing is mostly focused on bringing the mythology into the lifestyle as far as practical. He retelling the story through the major character of mythological text. David Patnaik also retails something that we have been hearing and reading since the childhood. Prior knowledge of mythology is not required. On the other hand, prior knowledge is in David Patnaik books is really required. On the other hand, no prior mythological knowledge is required for reading the work of Amish Tripathi. Their styles of writing is completely different. David Patnaik paying attention to the original aspects of the story, and Amish Tripathi creates completely new story based on the mythological characters portrayed in a tremendous charm. So here I conclude my presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Monica Jha. Thank you for your valuable presentation. I have described the comparative study. I have one questions for you.
Yes, sure.
What is the purpose of comparative study? What is the purpose of a comparative study?
So I beg your pardon. Actually, it is not clear.
What is the purpose? What is the purpose of comparative study?
Sir, reader nowadays actually they are so impressed by these two writers, really influenced by these two writers, but they don't know what to choose, whom they choose to read. So if they wanted to read about David Patnaik, so my work is clearly give them view that who to choose.
Thank you. Thank you for your valuable answer. Thank you, Monica Jan.
Thank you so much for all the resource persons, dignitaries, and participants for being a patient listener. And thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. And we move on next. Beresh Chandra Das, MPhil Research Scholar, Department of History.
Yes, sir.
For your presentation.
Okay. I'm Chandra. Good afternoon, everybody, and all present here. My topic is political condition of Kuch Bihar, a historical study of colonial period. The Kuch Bihar was a state situated south part of Himalayan and in the modern part of Bengal during the 16th to 18th century. Third, there is a great deal of obscurity leading to some academic controversies about the way it was established, but it is a fact that the state was established in 1496 in the vacuum created after the collapse of Kingdom of Kamrupa and Kamata and become one of the great regional power of Northeast India. Nevertheless, it was unique for its long existence and can boast of its remote antiquity, sustained continuity, and survival down the centuries. The early history of the kingdom has no episode in the history of Assam. In early times, the territory was known as Pragjatisha. The Kamatha kingdom split at a time when the Mughal under Akbar was aggressively expanding their empire. The state soon became dependency of the Mughal empire and steadily lost territory to the empire. Lakshmi Narayan, Naranarayan's son, one of the king of Koch dynasty, was the first ruler of Koch Bihar, portion of the former Kamata kingdom. He was an ineffectual ruler after losing much territory to the Mughal commander Ali Kuli Khan. He accepted Mughal sovereignty and assistance in defending against his neighbor. The next Mughal emperor, Jahangir, again attacked Bihar and captured territory including Tripura. Lakshmi Narayan went to Delhi and owned guarantees for his much reduced debt. On his return, he established his capital at the Atharkota village, B. Narayan. Lakshmi Narayan's son and successor was a pleasure living ruler who failed to exert his authority to levy taxes on the king of Bhutan. In his peaceful reign, he sponsored schools for the aristocracy and support intellectual. His successor Pranaraya ruled in peace until 1657, when he struggled for succession in the Mughal Empire began between Aurangzeb and his brother. Pran invaded Bengal, sieging Ghoraghat, a center of Mughal power, in 1658 and in 1661, capturing Dhaka, the Bengal capital. However, by this time, Aurangzeb had consolidated his power and sent his empire to invade Bihar and Assam. Pran re-entered to the mountain and retreated to the mountain and waged a guerrilla war for 3 years, finally making a pact with the Mughal Naib Shaista Khan in 1664. During his rule, the Bihar kingdom expanded to Tajpat, Baharband, Paragana in the south, Basakpur near Kolaghat, Gwalpara district in the east of Bhatgand, within Mora in the west. Thus, Koch Bihar maintained its sovereignty, essentially the entire North Bengal, against Mughal invasion. Maharaja Pran Narayan rebuilt the temple of Baneshwar, Chandeshwar, and the Kamteshwar temple of Gosanimar. He sent for architect from Delhi to complete the Jalpesh temple, but the work was not completed in his lifetime. He constructed broad highways and bridges and many beautiful buildings in his capital. He was a patron of the art. Madan Narayan or Mod Narayan, successor Pran Narayan. After a short struggle with his brother, for some time the power behind the throne was Mahi Narayan, who had been Nazir summoned for his father. After a fierce struggle, Madan Narayan gained control and Mahi Narayan fled to Bhutan. Madan Narayan began to survey of his land and a register of land holding. He completed the construction of the Jalpe Shiva temple, providing land for the temple's maintenance. The Kuch Bihar state of his time comprised the entirely of present day Jalpaiguri division and large part of Malda division of present day West Bengal. It also included the entire Rampur district division and large part of the Rajshahi division of current Bangladesh. He assisted the Mughal in a war with the Ahom kingdom in 1666. This strategy helped him keep two competing forts at bay from retaining his holding. British East India Company acquired control. Maharaja Dharendra Narayan appealed to the British ruler of Bengal for assistance in regaining his kingdom in exchange for a large payment. However, the Governor General Warren Hastings rejected the term and insisted on a agreement by which the Maharaja would pay an annual tribute to the company in exchange for protection. In effect, an agreement to accept the supremacy of the British. The British then sent a regiment commanded by Mr. Poling from Calicut, who marched toward Rangpur toward Mughal Hut, joined on their route by Bihar forts from all the warlord and the chief of North Bengal. After a series of sharp encounters with the Bhutanese force, the British coalition force captured by the capital and moved forward into southern Bhutan. Unwilling to go further into the difficult hill, the British negotiate a peace agreement 25 April 1774 with Bhutan in exchange for surrender of Bihar royal captives. Bhutan agreeing to return to its pre 1730 with 1730 boundary and a symbolic tribute to 5 horses. The British left a small garrison in Bihar and withdrew the main army of Rangpur when Dharjendra Narayan realized that he had exchanged one master for another and had permanently lost independence of his ancestral land. He abdicated in favor of Dharendra Narayan, who regained until his death in 1775, when Dharjendra Narayan resumed the throne from now on until the transfer of control to the state of India in 1949. Kuch Bihar was princely estate subject to overall British suzerainty. In 1949, it was merged with the Union of India and later became a part of West Bengal state. Alternately, had succeeded to East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. Then India would not have had land access to Northeast India, and that territory would have succeeded to independence. Also, the former East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, would have land border with Nepal, Bhutan, and Sikkim. Maharaja Nripendra Narayan. When Maharaja Nripendra Narayan passed away in Maharaja Narendra Narayan passed away in 1863 AD. As per will of the Maharaja, his 10th-month child son Nripendra Narayan was crowned in as the next king of Bihar, Kuch Bihar. At first, the state administration was looked after by Queen Kamteshwari, Brindeshwari, and Nistarini Aidevi. Since Maharaja Nripendra Narayan was only a child, later the power of administration was handed over to the commissioner appointed by the British Governor General Colonel Houghton. Was appointed as the commissioner of British Kuch Bihar in 1864 AD. He was conferred completely authority to run the state administration. Colonel Houghton seriously paid attention toward education and carrying the child marriage. Maharaja Nripendra Narayan stayed in Kuch Bihar for 5 years. In 1868 AD, he was sent to Varanasi for learning. There he took lesson till 1872 AD. After that, he was schooled in Patna Collegiate School for 6 years. While staying at Bankipur, he learned riding and hunting over there. On the occasion of the crowning in of Queen Victoria in 1877 AD, Maharaja Nripendra Narayan was invited the Delhi Darbar. In his respect, canons are fired 30 times. In 1878 AD, Maharaja Nripendra Narayan married Suniti Devi, daughter of famous Keshav Chandra Sen of Kolkata. Immediately after marriage, he left for England for higher studies. There he started learning under Sir Benjamin Simpson and Mr. Keller. Maharaja Rajendra Narayan, next king. Maharaja Rajendra Narayan, eldest son of Maharaja Nripendra Narayan, was born at Woodland Place at Calcutta on 11th April 1862 AD. During his childhood, he took lesson under a British female home tutor. When he was boy of 11 years, he was sent a Lord Mayo College at Rajputna for studying. He was much attentive to in his studies, turned out favorite to his classmates, participate in sport. He had special inclination toward engineering. He was the great pleasure fun in him in playing games to fake where everything. Next Maharaja Jitendra Narayan. Maharaja Jitendra Narayan was the second son of Maharaja Nripendra Narayan. He was born on 20th December 1886 AD at Koch Bihar Place. During his childhood, he took lesson under British home tutor in 90. He left for England and got admitted to Eton School. After finishing his studies over there, he took admission in Edinburgh University. He returned back to Kuch Bihar after completing his studies. Jitendra Narayan paid visit to his ailing brother Maharaja Rajendra Narayan, who was under treatment in London. At that time, Maharaja of Baroda, along with his daughter, visited London and proposed marriage between his daughter Indra Devi and Jitendra Narayan to Rajmata Suniti Devi and Maharaja Rajendra Narayan. With his consent, Jitendra Narayan married Indra Devi at the Buckingham Palace Hotel on 25th August 1933. In 1930. The 6th day after the wedding, Maharaja Rajendra Narayan passed away on 1st September 1930. Next Maharaja Jagadipendra Narayan and the last Maharaja of Kuch Bihar state. Maharaja Jagadipendra Narayan was the eldest son of Maharaja Jitendra Narayan and Indra Devi. He was born on 15 December in 1915 at the Kuch Bihar Palace. In this childhood, he took lesson under home tutor. After that, for higher studies, he was admitted at Harrow at London in 1927. Thereafter, he got admitted to Cambridge University in 1929. While studying at Harrow, he attended army training. Returning back to India, he joined the 7th Indian Cavalry at Bolaram of Hyderabad and received higher army training. After that, he joined the honorary military training course at Dehradun. At that time, General J.N. Chaudhary, Rajendra Singh and General Kariappa are undergoing training, Maharaja Jagadipendra Narayan was the lieutenant colonel at that time. He was conferred the title of KCI. He took part in the Second World War in 1939 and operated as lieutenant officer. He stayed at Rangoon, Kohima, and other places during that time. Conclusion: a critical study of these rules, critical study of the British rule in Kuch Bihar state show that the pattern of administration establishment was today is often called indirect rule. The Kuch Bihar state, it was applied as early as the East India Company's contact, while this state in 1773, when Anglo-Kuch treaty was concluded, thought main objective of the East India Company was to expand trade in this region, controlling around Nepal, Gateway, and Tibet, thought the West China. But gradually, the East India Company got involved into internal administration and began to interfere in the internal affairs of the Kuch Bihar state. Before the intervention of the British, Kuch Bihar state had an independent character from all respects. It is noted earlier that the East India Company did not annex the Kuch Bihar, thought it is clearly mentioned in the third article of the treaty. My presentation is complete.
Thank you, Bresh Chandradas, for your nice presentation. You have described a historical study of colonial period on political condition of Kuch Bihar. I have a general question on colonization. I have a general question on colonization, and why? Because you are presenting the topic only. What do
Actually,
you
sir,
mean by colonization?
yes.
Colonization.
Why I choose this topic? I can.
Yeah, no. Who started colonization in worldwide? Who started colonization in worldwide?
Actually, sir, I did get it, sir.
You did it only Kuch Bihar.
Hello,
Who
sir.
started colonization worldwide? Worldwide.
Actually, sir, I.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you for your wonderful
Actually, sir,
presentation.